All right, it says we are now streaming on YouTube. So let's pull that up and mute it. So why don't you do the same, Pat, and then what that does is it'll let us see the comments. Do you see us?
I do not.
I found us.
Well, why don't you, you want to share the link with me somewhere?
Yeah, I'll text it to you.
Okay, that's perfect.
Hey, Cirrus. Thanks for joining. I'm just gonna wait a second till some more people tune in. And let us know if you watch the town halls as well, because we watch so you don't have to. That's freaking love, okay?
And
That is love.
even that, we were lucky enough tonight to be able to split up.
Yeah. Let's see.
So I watched the Trump debate, well, town hall, and Joy watched Biden, just so people know.
That's freaking love, okay? Here we go. Hey, Cirrus. Hey, Progressive Update. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Gretel, I don't know what I'm didn't is, but you're bad. I'm sending this to you. And you can put it on Twitter. Please tag me. I just texted you that. Oh, thank you, Nathan. Haha, see, Pat. Nathan likes my background.
I haven't even looked at your background yet. Sorry. I will in 1 second. Let me get the link out for everyone. Okay.
Corn Pop was not there, unfortunately, but he is a bad dude.
All right, posted.
All right. So looks like we got about 8 people. Well, we can get started. So before we get to the town halls, I'm going to keep calling it a debate as well, because, Biden, likes to debate himself. But so before we get to that, there's 2 things I wanted to bring up and address. So the first thing is, I'm not sure if you guys saw, but Justice Democrats came out with a Biden promotional video today. And it was very comparable to the like the white women screaming in the car, that we all kind of like, I've been making fun of for a few weeks. It was kind of comparable to that. It was it was a white woman complaining about her kids acting up, and she's like, do me a favor, okay? I just need you to do me a favor and vote. And I'm like, okay, first of all, who are you that we should do you a favor? Like, I should change my vote because some stranger says they want a favor. And then when it closed out, it said, for the love of God, vote for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, if you want an effective version of that, find people that are suffering, not someone in their car that you're supposed to have empathy for no reason.
It's absolutely disgusting. It was pathetic. And I mean, apparently Kyle Kalinske is not addressing people's, people being pissed off about it, because, he is
Right.
Justice Dems. It's gross. And honestly, like, it's at the point where people have already voted by the millions. And furthermore, why would you do that at just so late in the game? You're not going to get any votes by doing that commercial. You're only like the only people who were giving it props were people who were going to vote for Joe anyway. Um,
Right. All you're doing is losing Justice Dem supporters, because the purpose of Justice Democrats was to essentially primary shitty Democrats. So, to go out and back Biden now is not converting any of the people that were already funding the organization into, I mean, some people are okay with it, but like you said, it doesn't convert anyone. It doesn't change any minds. I mean, and centrist Democrats hate Justice Democrats. So where are we going with that?
exactly. And I think, it's going to be really interesting when they see how many people like myself unsubscribe. And, I've been told I've interviewed almost 200 candidates, many of them Justice Dems. And I have been told behind the scenes that they have had to sign paperwork and things like that have made these candidates uncomfortable. And now I'm at the point where I'm just ready to reach out to some of these candidates, and go deeper on it, because I have no loyalty or anything like that whatsoever. Wait, whoa, Jenna, what? You wrote in Bernie and Nina? Gretel wrote in Bernie and Nina. I'm writing in Bernie and Nina. I wrote in Bernie in 2016, and I'm ready. And this vote shaming bullshit does nothing but make me want to not vote for Biden even harder. But anyway, so that was the Justice Dem things. And then the other thing was, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Dianne Feinstein was giving Lindsey Graham props, and saying thank you for your leadership. And they gave a maskless hug, like a real tight, nice, long hug, both of them without a mask. Um, Furthermore, Dianne Feinstein her question was, to Amy Comey Barrett, can you tell me about your children? And I'm very impressed with you. She's going
Right.
to vote for her, period.
Yeah. And, even if she doesn't, it doesn't, the point is they're supposed to be making our case for us. I mean, on one hand, they're saying, oh, they're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. They're going to rule on the election. Basically, you're a terrible person. But then they finish it up with, but I think you have incredible integrity. Nobody is questioning your values. They just fluff them at the end. So, if you want the public's consensus on this, you need to convince them that no, this is somebody who's been a lawyer for what was it, 4 years before going on the court. I mean, and obviously she was picked to overturn the Affordable Care Act. I mean, that's the top
Mm-hmm.
issue. It's not really even abortion. I mean, she probably will send that back to the states as well, but Affordable Care Act is the number one issue, and it's all about money. And that's why, really, at the end of the day, the Democrats don't really care about that, because their donors are going to profit from overturning the terrible Affordable Care Act.
Red Sea Socialist, you are so right. And when I found that out, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Amy Comey Barrett has Black children, okay? And she is in denial about systemic racism. That just like, it's just absolutely just mind blowing. Um, I don't know. I have a feeling she's going to get confirmed. And did they ask Trump? See, okay, so we both watched town halls. Pat watched the Trump one, which was an hour. I watched the Biden one, which was an hour and a half, um, which felt like 18 hours. Um, Pat, before we get started, how about you rate the Trump town hall from like clusterfuck to full on dumpster fire. Like, where is it?
Ugh. You know, after the actual in-person debates, the town hall didn't ring like it didn't feel like a true clusterfuck. Um, it just didn't challenge Trump on the issues enough, which is what always happens. I mean, it's like, you know, they push back a little bit with some data, and then he gets left off the hook and makes some talking points that appeal to his people. And then you move on to the next question, they push back a little bit. He makes some talking points that work for his people. And that's the whole format all night, you know. And then so they went to audience questions, and it's the same thing. The audience question asks somebody, you know, he goes off the rails, not even answering the question, and then talking points for his base, unchallenged mostly. You know, that's the theme every single time.
Now, do you know the woman's name who was the moderator? I forgot to look it up.
Savannah Guthrie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
So what?
apparently, people were texting like crazy on Twitter that she said you have a nice smile or something to
Oh,
him.
no, that was the I believe the last person from the audience to ask a question, and she was a Biden supporter. She said, let me see. She said, "Great smile, so handsome when you smile." But her question was on cutting DACA, and would Trump back the Dreamers? And this was a classic scenario where Trump just went on to like his talking points about, you know, how he's going to in the future. The numbers look bad on him not, you know, limiting immigration because of COVID, but he's building his wall. He wants good legal immigration, you know. So that's it. Like, it's not, you know. And Samantha Guthrie pushed back a little bit. She said, um, I forget exactly what, but you know, it's never hard enough back to him is the problem. So you have no chance of changing any of his supporters' minds, you know, and he can just spew out a conspiracy theory, anything he wants, and there's just never enough pushback. But I could go through, you know, I did take notes start to finish, which was painful. I regret the last hour of my life.
We do it for you guys.
It's
You guys understand how much, like, that is love. All
yeah,
right, Pat, let's hear it. What were some of the highlights?
there are no highlights. Let me just get that out of the way. It's all lowlights. But Trump said tremendous about 50, 60, 70 times. Everything is tremendous. You know, in the beginning, I will say Samantha Guthrie pushed back a lot on COVID. That was the only area she brought some real resistance to, in my mind. And kind of the problem I have with Samantha Guthrie is she's one of those people that smiles when she insults you. So it seems like the whole thing is not that serious. Like, well, you're saying all that crazy bullshit, but ha ha ha, here are the facts. But it's not what we need. We need someone on his stage with him, Biden in theory, attacking him and aggressively going to war with him, not a moderator who's sort of keeping the peace here between Trump and his people. But anyway, one other thing I wanted to mention. So NBC obviously got a lot of shit for tonight because they scheduled at the same time as Biden's debate was scheduled. So you would think that they would not present this event in kind of the way they did. So the whole scene, every image of Trump that was on camera, there were 2.5 people behind him in the background. One was a person of color who was pro-Trump. So every shot of Trump during the entire thing is her cheering, nodding, agreeing with Trump. So that's your scene, is just Trump, a black person in the background, nodding vehemently in support of Trump. So NBC, you know, they set those shots up. It's not an accident that person is back there. So, you know, but I do think NBC early, and this is where the typical centrist left people, they cry wolf too much. So they were attacking NBC early in the week for just agreeing to have a town hall for Trump. So the whole argument initially started in as NBC shouldn't even allow this man to have a platform. Well, he's running for president and he is the president. He should be allowed a platform. That is a ridiculous argument. But they started with that argument. Now, where they were right is they shouldn't have had this at the same time as Biden's. And that's a true disservice, but they lost power by their bullshit argument in the beginning that wasn't really true. Okay. Anyway, on to the town hall. Samantha Guthrie pushed him a lot on if he had pneumonia during his time with COVID, and Trump was no, but his lungs were different and infected. That's pneumonia. Just for people that need to know, if your lungs are different and infected, it's pneumonia. So,
different and infected.
Yeah, those were his exact words. Different and infected lungs. And Trump repeatedly referred to his garbage stat that 85% of people who wear masks get COVID. Like 85% of people who wear masks get COVID. There's a new study out. You can go find it. And Samantha has her facts, but 85% of people who wear masks get COVID. So that's bullshit, obviously. And she did push.
Trump said that, right?
Trump was saying that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He said that he brought it up 3 or 4 times. Total garbage, obviously. Asked about herd immunity. Didn't really answer. Asked if he would denounce white supremacy. He said, yes, I adamantly denounce white supremacy, but then pivoted to Antifa being just as a terrible organization. And then that's when the person behind them is like, yes, cheers, not a nod. Yes. So it comes across as like, well, Biden's got his terrible terrorists behind him too. So it's an equal sin in a way.
Antifa does not like Biden. Like, I wish we were, like the right sees us. Like, I wish he was defund the police. I wish he was anti-fracking. I wish he was free radical healthcare.
The right thinks he's a socialist. I mean, this is how off the rails. This is how the Democrats have lost the narrative. That they allow him to be painted as socialist. But anyway, the other thing, he was called out for his tweeting conspiracy theories with the bin Laden stuff this week. And his defense was, it's just a retweet. It's just a retweet. Well, okay, you're president. I mean, you should maybe not spew that shit, but he lives in that world where those things work for his audience. So Obama didn't kill bin Laden, or I don't even know what was the conspiracy. I mean, I'm
not sure. I haven't dug into that one.
Yeah, someone watching, throw it in the chat so Joy can read it, because I don't even care to read some of the garbage she's putting out. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but it's probably worth a laugh. So someone tell me. And Trump had a little bit of a point on this one, but he's, I mean, obviously he's racist about it, but they asked if an audience member asked if he knew COVID was airborne and deadlier than the flu back in February. Why didn't he ban travel everywhere? And he said, well, his defense was that Pelosi and Biden didn't want to even ban people from China, which is accurate. So he does get some credit on that. I mean, obviously China is a key word that is a dog whistle to his racist supporters that blame China for all this stuff. But he has a point. And that's the problem with Democrats, is they're so wrong on things that he's not wrong when he criticizes most of the Democrats. They asked about, if ACB gets appointed to the court, what's he going to do if his administration does want to repeal Obamacare, and it's in the courts a week after the election is over. So if she makes it to the courts, she has the power to potentially completely gut and end Obamacare. So the question was, basically what are you going to do if that happens? And of course, a better and less expensive healthcare system. He's going to protect pre-existing conditions and bring us a better and less expensive healthcare system. Well, the problem is they don't have any bill to do that. So you would basically be making the laws on the books invalid, which would, you have to have something to replace this with. And they still to this day do not have a plan.
It's been 4 fucking years.
Yeah, it's
Where
ridiculous.
is it?
It's ridiculous. So, and this is the typical kind of town hall that's not really getting to the issues. They focus on Trump taxes a lot. So there was a lot of talk about, and Trump basically did admit that he owes $400 million in debt. So, I mean, in a sense, that's a win. But, he was able to say, well, look, I have, essentially billions of dollars. So he kept using the phrase under levered. Like, I don't know if he made up a new word or if that's a real word, but under levered, I mean, I think under leveraged or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Under leverage.
Under levered, I don't know. I'm not an economist. Maybe it's a
That's
real
like
thing.
when Pete always said the word glide path as one
Right.
word, and we're just like, what the fuck is a glide path? What is it?
Right.
Under lever?
Under levered is what I believe is what he was saying, but he definitely was not saying under leveraged, which is what I would expect, which seems like the right terminology to use if you're talking about your debt versus assets.
No, it's leverage. Yeah, he got it wrong.
Yeah, so he said that a few times.
It said here's what came up. Donald Trump asked Savannah Guthrie if she heard of being underlevered, which critics say is not a real word.
Okay, see, and I caught that, and I'm not a smart person, so even I knew that was wrong immediately. So he was also asked about Roe v. Wade from an audience member. Basically, if Roe v. Wade is repealed, and what are his views on, in the case of if the life of the mother is in question. Never answered it at all. Like, not once did his answer get near that. It was basically, it's going back to the states. He's electing this woman that he doesn't even know her position on this stuff. It's a typical bullshit. But no pushing by the moderator, Samantha Guthrie, whatsoever on getting him to actually answer the question. Yeah, what will you do to protect Black lives was another audience member's question. Basically it was I'm the best for Black people. I've done the most for Black people since Lincoln was a quote of his. Yeah, not much. And then that's it. So nothing on climate change, nothing on foreign policy, very little on police brutality, just that one question he was able to dodge. Not a lot of talk on healthcare. I mean, the format was so fast, and they had, it's an hour town hall, but unlike the debate, it's full of commercials. So it's like, 10, 12 minutes of talking and then commercials. So it was not a very powerful, nobody's minds were changed. I mean, if this thing changed your mind, I don't know what the fuck's going on with you.
So let me ask you this. As far as the audience questions, did they seem genuine? Did they seem like they were pre-approved? What was the feeling? Was it organic or staged?
I mean, they claimed that this was all set up by a neutral party. I don't know. I mean, they had a mother and daughter on. The mother supported Trump, the daughter didn't, and they both asked a question. Fair or not, I mean, it was such a short thing, and they didn't allow any discussion with the people that asked the questions. So the question was asked, and then it would go to Trump, and Trump would pivot, go somewhere else with it for the most part, and not much pushback from Samantha. Some pushback, but not a real hard challenge generally from her. I mean, I think she tried. I don't think she was in it for Trump. I mean, she was trying. I'll give her credit for it.
Yeah, and as far as Biden, I took like 3 pages of notes. I mean, you're gonna. It's Biden. So I will say overall, and I am supposed to know these things since I do interviews all the time, I do think it was much more organic than any town halls I've seen before. So it's either it was kind of more organic, or the people submitted questions and then went rogue when they were live. So either one could be feasible. Um, so uh, yeah, this is what happened with Joe Biden. Let's see. He said that businesses should have a specific sign that says it's safe to come in. And that wording kind of freaked me out because I'm like, if I saw that, people may think they could take their mask off or something. Like, what do you mean safe to come in?
Right.
Is that how you would interpret it, Pat? Like,
Well, what did he mean by it? That needs explanation. So
well, that's the thing. He didn't say it means social distancing or everyone's
right,
required to wear a mask or anything. He literally just said they need a
right.
sign that says it's safe to come in.
And I would assume that's what he meant, but in the same sense that policy wise he's vague, he's probably being vague on COVID in a way to try to appeal to people on the right somewhat. I mean, he's not out there calling for $1,200 in stimulus. He's not out calling for, lockdowns to stay longer. He's not acting like science is really dictating his response to COVID that much more than Trump.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that is a very Trump thing to say, in my opinion. That there's having a sign that says that. Something else that was interesting as far as COVID goes. Someone asked if they came out with a vaccine for COVID, would he mandate it? And he said he would consider it. And I thought, oh, that's going to piss a lot of people off because there's a lot of anti-vaxxers. And there's a lot of people who are going to say, well, we haven't seen the side effects of this.
Right.
Also, is this going to be free? Because if you're going to mandate it, you better damn well make it free. So I was kind of surprised that he actually said he would consider that. What do you think about that, Pat?
I mean, the problem with consider is it allows your opponent to say that means whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can dictate what that means. And so, Biden likes to play both sides. I mean, he has said both things in the last month, that he will mandate masks nationally and that he has no power to mandate masks nationally. So, yeah, I mean, what is it?
Yeah, the moderator said, if you make it mandatory, how do you implement that? And he said, well, you can't enforce it. And he said, but I tell you what I'd do. I'd go to every mayor, every council member across the country in each state and tell them they have to control their people. And it just reminded me so much of when Hillary was like, I'm going to go to Wall Street and tell them to cut it out. I was just like, yeah, that sounds feasible. Okay.
100%. And, it's physically impossible for him to go to every mayor.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do that.
Yeah, no, that it makes no sense. And then I'm kind of like, I mean, I would get it. I don't care. I'm not anti-vax, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, why would you mandate it? Because if it is a valid vaccine, would it matter if other people still had COVID because you've had the vaccine? I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, that piece of it is a little different. I mean, in a sense, it could be like, they still don't know enough about COVID, to be honest, because like
Yeah,
you can get a flu shot and still get the flu. I mean, they don't know the efficacy that the shot is going to be yet. So, there's some
right.
truth to some of that. But look, I think it's a terrible idea to say you're going to mandate a vaccine.
That's just not a good idea. And especially because you have, these people on the right who were saying you can't even mandate a mask. You think they're going to say, okay, stick a needle in me?
Right. I
Oh my
mean,
God, there will be fucking riots.
but look, at the end of the day, we are going to be in a position where, just like with measles and chicken pox, well, not chicken pox, but you can't send your kid to school unvaccinated. So, that may come into play, and you may not be able to have your kids in school if you don't get the shot. But that is still a different step from saying mandatory vaccinations. That's, you can homeschool, and you won't,
Exactly.
you have options if you don't want to get shot. Like, nobody comes by and rings your doorbell and stabs you with a vaccine, you know.
That would be some freaking 1984 shit, or almost like purge type shit in a way. Like, come here. um
Yeah.
so that was just, the beginning of everything. So the hero of the night, and if you guys have Twitter, please go to my Twitter at Savage Joy Marie 1. I have screenshots of a lot of the people who ask questions, and they're just like their faces are beautiful. Even the ones who said they were Democrats, it was freaking amazing. So the hero of the night, and I don't have his name, but I know he's a Philly boy, just like I'm a Philly girl, and he identified himself as a progressive. I'm not sure what party, but he's a young black man, and he stood up, and his question said, besides you ain't black, what can you say to black men and women who are undecided if they want to vote? And I was just like, holy shit! Yes! I was so excited. I was like, I want to fucking hug this kid
Wow.
so bad right now. He's like, besides you ain't black. Oh my God, it was
I think I
beautiful.
picked the wrong town hall to watch between us, because
It
that
was
sounds
beautiful.
a lot more
Oh,
interesting.
that's
I mean,
going to be blowing up.
all
It'll
that
be
he was
blowing
missing
up.
in his question was, besides you ain't black and you should probably vote for someone else. If he'd just added that piece to it, it would have been perfection.
See, I don't think that was approved. I think that that could have been an improvise, like
There's
at the
no
moment.
way they approved that
But
question.
it was so funny because he was like this the whole time, like trying not to laugh. He actually stifled a smile several times. It was amazing. And this is how Biden responded. Um, he talked about pre-K and home prices, giving people a $15,000 home credit on their first home. And that pre-K is important because he repeated this. Not all kids have heard the same amount of words. Remember when he
Yeah.
said that? It was when he was talking about the record player and shit. He said that again.
Right. Well, the problem is he's stuck in, basically, I would say, 1980, maybe, when the whole push was for a Head Start. I mean, I'm not saying, obviously pre-K and younger education is critical, like it always has been, but like that was the number one talking point back in 1980-ish, so he just defaults back to this old way of thinking, and it's got racist undertones. It's like he hasn't evolved to 2020 not racist. He's like baby 1980 sort of racist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, if somebody asks you, what are you, like he said, a lot of Black men and women are considering sitting this out and not voting at all. Besides, you ain't Black. What can you tell? And you're talking about pre-K and shit. What does that have to do? The kid look young. Who even knows if he has kids? What does that have to do with anything? And that's a program you're literally giving to everyone, not just Black people. So it
Right.
was just tone deaf.
Did he address any of the police brutality and nothing
No,
like that at all?
no, God, no.
Did anybody press him on the crime bill?
A Republican woman who said she voted for Trump in 2016 and this time was undecided, stood up and asked him about the crime bill. And Biden said, okay, so there's this WAPO douche on Twitter saying that Biden said that he regretted the crime bill. He never said that. That is complete bullshit. So if you see people saying that, no, that is not what he said. When he asked, do you regret the crime bill? He said, and I quote, it was a different time then. That's what he said. And he talked about, that there were some good things and some bad things, but he did the good things and he voted against the bad things. So no, he never said ever, I shouldn't have done that or I regret it or anything like that. So don't let people spin that shit.
No, it's the same formula with Anita Hill. He never really apologized for Anita Hill.
Never. Here's something I've never heard him say, and I think nervousness got him or some shit. He said that marijuana should be decriminalized.
Yeah, I think that might have been his position a month ago or so.
I have never heard him say that. And he said, wipe out the records. And then he quoted Arlen Specter, which was interesting. But yeah, he said, and wipe out the records. Then he said, that for drug users, he doesn't want prison. He wants treatment, which I'm so incredibly on board with. But he said mandatory. And I don't know if you can make people do that because when they're not ready, they're not ready. But so yeah, I was kind of surprised he took that approach because he did do the whole 3 strikes law and stuff like that. So to hear him say that, he was open to, just not putting drug users in jail and putting them in treatment, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Which was
but the thing is, all that still comes down to open to. It with open to means no, it's not going to happen under his term. I mean, that's
open
just what
to
it means.
Is not. Yeah, it's like I don't have a tangible, law to propose, but I'm open to it.
Well, why would he push for a position like that in power if he didn't agree to it beforehand? He's not going to, because any change you make to the government like that, you're going to have all the pushback on the people that cost money. So the private prison industry that funds tons of Democrats, they're not going to like that. So it's not going to be, he's not going to get anything politically out of it from his mind. He's just not going to do it. Like nothing ever not agreed to before you become president ever happens.
Right.
So this pushing people left's crap that, if you got to vote for Biden, but don't say you're going to push him left, because you're not.
Yeah.
We're going to try, but we can't do it. I mean,
no. Lisa, you are correct. Arlen Specter, I'm in Pennsylvania. Arlen Specter went Republican for over 40 years. So kind of like Liz Warren. Yeah. So the fact that he cited him was interesting. What else do I got here? Biden said numerous times behind an 8 ball. I'm not really sure what that means.
Well, I used to play a lot of pool, so I do know what that means, but it's just a catchphrase that it just means you're in charge, you're about to win, you got this, you're in control kind of thing.
He's like, I'm talking jive, man. Come on, Jack.
Yeah, it's pretty much that in his mind.
OMG. Okay, so here's one of the things that someone needs to make a best of, because I don't know how to edit or anything, and I know it's crazy because I have a show, but okay, so one of the things that was just so weird, and I actually rewound it and replayed it. Thankfully, I have that capability on my TV. Biden said if Nellie Smith is walking on the corner or owning a liquor store, and he was talking about Black people and businesses. And I'm thinking, who is Nellie Smith? I actually looked it up, and it's just a name he made up. And I'm like, why is she on a corner or owning a liquor store? Like,
wait, so he just decided, was the question about business in general, not like anything liquor store related?
it was no, it was about business, period.
About business, and he had
nothing
to,
about prostitution, liquor store, nothing.
so he had to give a Black person a liquor store in his head to tell this story.
Yeah, and be
That's
a
a choice.
prostitute.
The fuck? What the fuck?
I was just like, what is he talking about? Apparently, Black women he associates with working on the corner and owning liquor store. But at least he said owning the liquor store, not working there. So I guess that's good. Good old Nellie Smith. Yeah, she must be T-Bone and Corn Pops buddy.
It's crazy.
This is bananas. Let's see what else. Biden said one of his greatest hits again, shoot him in the leg. He brought that goodie back.
Police reform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shoot him in the leg. Let's see. All right.
I mean, so how was it taken? Like, how did the audience react to this debate? And did it feel like Biden won any hearts, lost any hearts?
No. I mean, everyone's faces. I mean, there were maybe 10 people in the audience to begin with. And they never showed anyone up close unless they were asking a question. But I think that when he was talking, you can tell if somebody is like, but everyone's just like
right.
Like even ones who said they were Dems. It didn't seem to sway anyone either way. Here you go. He referred to himself as senator again. Not kidding. Literally called himself
twice.
Senator again.
Yeah, he did that like 2 days ago, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. And then, but this time he noticed and he tried to correct himself because he's like something running for senator or running for president, senator. I'm like, we caught you. You called yourself senator again. My God.
Well, he always tries, and they blame the stutter, but he always tries to talk his way out of things he can't remember, like the president, my boss stuff.
Yeah. How is that not a stutter? I mean, he stuttered a number of times, but it's very clear what a stutter is. And it's not saying jacked up, things.
Before I forget, I meant to put this on when I discussed the Trump rally, but there's some new features on Zoom. I don't know if you see my sweet goatee.
Let me see. Ah! Oh my God, you look like Joey Lawrence.
Yeah, they have some they jazz it up a little bit. So I meant to come on like this, but I don't know if anyone would have even got the joke. But
Oh my God, you look like Joey
just wait
Lawrence, Pat.
before I go.
Give me a beard.
You got to do it yourself. I can't do it.
Oh, I don't know how.
And I can have floating eyebrows so I can seem more interested in what you have to say.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
we're going full Snapchat over
I
here.
want a freaking beard. How do I
Anyways,
do it?
sorry to derail the conversation, but I'm gonna have to go at 7:30 anyway, so I wanted to get that in.
Oh man, you got a real screen share tomorrow. That I really want
Yeah,
a beard. That's
yeah, you
awesome.
can do this.
Yeah. Um so okay, so I saw I think it was Michael talking about Tara Reid. I actually talked to her today in Messenger. We were talking about like K Hive and just how awful they are and stuff like that. She messaged me because they were like jumping all over me, and she messaged me, to be like, they do this and that, like that kind of thing. So we were talking a little bit. But the one thing that was so interesting, speaking of Tara Reid, tonight, uh, you know, it he was giving an example of being a lawyer, okay? And out of nowhere, he goes, like, let's say a woman accuses me of rape.
No.
Yeah, he did. He literally said that. Nobody asked him about sexual assault. Nobody asked him about rape. Nobody asked him about Me Too. Nobody asked him anything
I mean,
at all.
how is that not a follow-up question if you're the moderator? I mean, because he has been
He
technically
went
accused
right
of
to
rape.
commercial.
I mean,
Like,
technically,
right.
yeah. Well, that's
I'm not
terrible.
kidding. It was like literally. Yes, Biden said that. Absolutely. I'm sure there'll be a clip coming out. He absolutely said that. And they went to right to a commercial. I was just like, oh my God, nobody freaking brought up touching a woman or anything like that. Why would you fucking bring that up? I was just,
Yeah, on his own. I mean, it's the
yeah,
ultimate gaffe to bring up your own rape accusation, and then for the moderator to not follow up on that is just
well, he
journalistic
didn't, it wasn't
malpractice.
directly him, it wasn't him saying directly
No.
about
Yeah,
himself,
yeah.
but it's bringing up the topic at all shows you are a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but he brought up a topic that demanded a response from a journalist. And
Yeah,
he didn't get the response, which just is terrible.
it was absolutely bananas. I was like, he really just brought up being accused. Like, let's say I'm accused of rape. It was just so, oh my God. I give him a year. If he wins, I give him a year
Yeah, I
at
mean,
most.
people say that. I mean, my thought is that he's gonna, as long as he can still wake up and be in front of a TV every once in a while, they're not going to kick him out of office because they're going to get everything they need out from him. But
Well,
they're gonna put Kamala in at the late stage of the game so that she can establish some credibility in time to win the next election. But they have no reason they would want to replace someone who's, even if he has full blown dementia, they would just lock him down for 2 years and then you know
yeah.
we'll see.
He did refuse to answer a question about packing the court. The shit libs are going crazy because Amy Comey Barrett actually refused to answer a question, and Joe refused to answer one tonight. They said, if they put ACB through, are you going to consider expanding the court? And he said, I'm not going to answer that. And the guy said, well, people are actually voting as we speak. Don't they have a right to know? And he goes, I'll answer it before people vote. And he's like, people are voting now. And he's like, I'll answer it. And he's like, when? Like, people are voting now,
Right.
douche canoe. Like,
Yeah, I
millions have
mean,
already voted.
honestly, there's the possibility in the moment Biden didn't realize we have 3 weeks to vote.
I don't think he did. I
Yeah.
really don't think he did. And that's not me like throwing shade or whatever. I really don't think he realized that people are already voting.
It's scary.
He thinks he's senator, so he probably like is like and he was in our state, which he was senator in. So he could have been like really playing it back, like, but yeah, that was bananas. Then someone in Pittsburgh area, Jenna, I thought about you. Someone in Pittsburgh stood up and asked a question about fracking. Now, I've protested, my governor in Pennsylvania countless times because of our pipelines and fracking and the amount of people who have gotten sick, and just the most disgusting things happening. And so this woman stands up, talks about fracking, and Joe said, "Well, I'm not against fracking, but it has to be managed." And then he said, it has to be managed very well. No methane and nothing to cause earthquakes.
Okay, so what he just said is the poisoning can continue.
Essential.
I mean, because there's plenty of damage to the environment, whether methane gas is released, and how are you measuring the methane gas being released? No, there's no measuring it. The people fracking aren't measuring their methane. It's just, but the point is you can poison groundwater. You can poison, even their argument is, well, this fracking is on private property. Well, that, under the ground, there's no barriers of like, hey, here's where my border ends and here's where the public water is. There's an aquifer. Some geologist that knows better than me can explain it, but basically, just not adding more fracking is not helping the environment. You have to get rid of fracking. Fracking on its own can literally undo all the gains we make to fight climate change. It releases all this gas to the earth, and you could poison water, you could poison kids, you could poison everything. And so this idea that he's just full of shit. He's trying to both sides this issue.
Absolutely. And, since I am in PA, I've met with people who have become physically disabled, literally because of fracking and pipelines in PA, like absolutely physically disabled. One gentleman actually almost lost his life. And he's in court right now. Like, it's been going on for over 3 years. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is that, I don't know if it's just in Pennsylvania, but I learned this when I went for to a town called Conestoga. It's out of Lancaster, PA. It's right up by there, kind of by Hershey as well. And they've been doing tons of pipelines and fracking on native land. So I went there to protest it with a bunch of indigenous peoples. And I learned that I spoke with several people who were taking me to their property and showing me how the county and state were actually digging up their own personal yards and putting pipelines and fracking and stuff, their property. How is that legal? But it is. They literally, and then the one had an elementary school, and they were putting a pipeline under the fucking elementary school. And the one lady I talked to, she was in a wheelchair, and we went to her house, and it looked like water slides. I'm not kidding you. There were all these pipelines, bright yellow and green, going through her yard. And she said, I'm in a wheelchair. If something smells like it's burning, I'm fucked. And these people have no recourse. And as someone who bought a house, I mean, I pay mortgage, I don't own it, but as someone who bought a house, I'll be damned if some motherfucker comes and tries to do something to my land. That is disgusting. That is so messed up. And these poor people have freaking no recourse.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, even if they have recourse, it's a math problem to these companies. They're making so much money by doing all this stuff. So, and then you got courts that limit in some places the amount that you can sue for these kind of things. I mean, our court system allows a lot of abuse because at the end of the day, these companies are still going to profit by losing a few of these lawsuits. They're not going to get the, you know, $500 million punitive award that used to happen to really make these companies pay, so that's why the courts actually matter a lot. But I mean, we know where we are with the courts, but it's you know it's gross.
It is. And then the little boxes, like if you're selling a home or something, they put the little uh flyers
Lockbox.
in that's like, come, call so and so if you want to buy this house. Well, they had a box with information about who was putting the pipelines up and stuff like that. And we were protesting, and I went like this over to grab one of the papers out of the public box that is there for people to gather information, and they called the cops. I'm like, it's literally there for us to have information, and we had to leave.
Yep, and you got a lot of these sites protected by the typical Blackwater security, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly who it
These
was.
private security firms that don't really have the accountability of a regular police force. But
And I
anyway,
digress.
I have to. I'm sorry, I have to tap out.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I thank you, everyone, and I'm glad I didn't hear Joe Biden's debate. I probably am a glutton for punishment. Town hall, sorry. I'll probably watch it later because I hate myself, but I appreciate you watching it, Joy.
I didn't get to the last few parts. You're gonna want to watch this show because you're missing a few gems.
Yeah,
But thank you for joining. Love
all right.
you.
Cheers. Love you too. Take care, everyone.
Bye. So I'm gonna finish up. He had another engagement. But I completely digress. But yeah, I was protesting with a bunch of indigenous peoples, and they were completely dressed, and they had incense and drums, and oh, I just got goosebumps. It was so beautiful. It was so amazing. And we were just like, singing and everything with the drums right on the water, right where all the fracking and pipelines were going on. And I swear to you, a bald eagle came down right behind us and landed in the water. I am so not kidding you. I just got goosebumps. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my entire life. But yeah, it was, I mean, like, I'm like gonna tear up. It was so incredible. But anyway, so they talked more about the environment, and Biden said 3 times the new Green Deal. Um, it must be a new Green Deal. Never heard of it. Biden said, I compliment the president on his recent deal with Israel. So that was interesting. Okay, so here's my two most interesting parts of the night, except for when the young man said, "Besides, you ain't black. What you got to say to me?" Uh, the other two moments that were just like so phenomenal. Okay, Gretel. Whoa. The other two moments. Okay, so and I posted this on Twitter and I tagged Charlotte Clymer because I don't know if you know who that is, but she's a trans person who is very active in the trans community, but she is also the most hateful judgmental anti-Bernie shitlib. So I tagged her in this because I would like to hear her response. I Biden said a woman stood up and said they are both she stood up and said, I have two children, 8 and 10, and the youngest is transgender. What will you do to ensure that their safety, blah blah blah? Biden responded, and I watched it back to make sure I got it word for word. Uh your kid says, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'd make my life easier. That's what he took from that. Like he thinks it's a choice and he thinks it makes his life easier. People are being murdered for being trans. So I'll read it again. Your daughter might think, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'd make my life a lot easier. What? If trans people are not disgusted by that, I mean, my jaw hit the freaking floor. I apparently it's a choice and it makes your life easier. It's not like, you can't join the military and you're hated against and you get murdered and, all those things. It makes your life easier and it's a choice. So the last question ended on a note that I'm definitely going to save this clip for if and when Joe loses. I'm going to play it over and over for anyone who vote shames. The moderator said, if you lose, what will that say about America? And Joe responded, well, it could say, I'm a lousy candidate. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. It could say I'm a lousy candidate. There you go, folks. He admitted it. If he loses, it's his own fucking fault. He inadvertently admitted what we've been trying to get Hillary to admit for 4 fucking years. So yeah, I'm gonna clip that and save it just in case he loses. So I can just like play that over and over. Yeah, accidental honesty, seriously. So yeah, those were the main takeaways. I'd say the beginning, I'd say like the first like 20 minutes or so weren't that bad at all. I thought it was like one of those times when he did a debate and they like shot him up full of something or other. And he was like all of a sudden able to speak coherently and things like that. I kind of thought maybe, he had some kind of drug wake him up or something. again, but then about 20 minutes in, it all started unraveling. Um, so yeah, I'm sure people will be coming out with highlights. No need to watch the whole hour and a half. Oh my god. Oh yeah, they're gonna blame it on Green Party, Bernie Bros, Ice Cube. You got it. Red Sea Socialist. Ice Cube's getting a lot of shit. Uh, but I've been seeing a lot of African Americans actually giving Ice Cube props for trying to, talk about tangibles, which the Dems refuse to do. Um, so, uh, Moose Scout, my name means basically, my name is Joy, and I've been doing my show over 3 years. And I do a lot of interviews. And I have no qualms calling people out, calling them hypocrites, asking them hard questions. And even when I've interviewed actual sitting reps, I still have asked the difficult things that a lot of other people wouldn't have the guts to do. But a lot of that is because I'm just an activist, and I'm not a so-called journalist. I'm just an activist and a voter, and I want you know I ask questions for people who want to know more in-depth things, who don't have the balls to do it. And then my audience started calling me savage. Oh my god, that's savage. And it just kind of stuck and became Savage Joy like 3 years ago. And I don't know, I just came, but a lot of people don't. My middle name is Marie, and so a lot of people, like Nina Turner, she always calls me Joy Marie. I think she thinks it's my first name, but I don't correct her because, like, hello, it's Nina. So but a lot of people think my nickname is Savage Joy and my real name is Marie. And it's totally not. uh Oh, thank you. Aw, you guys are awesome. Oh, your cold nose housemaster. I got one of those. Aw, I love you too, Jordan. You guys are the best. Well, thank you for watching my synopsis of the dumpster fire that is Joe Biden. Um, Yeah, so the progressive update asks, how can you even sell a house that has pipes going through the front yard? Well, here's the kicker. They literally won't even give you insurance. And furthermore, then they actually won't let you sell it. So they're just fucked. Like, they have no recourse. It's awful. Absolutely awful. It's funny. Oh my god, it's so funny that people people when they meet me in person, they're like, "But you're so sweet. Why are you savage?" And I'm like, "You politically, I'm savage. In real life, I'm like, can I have a hug?" So it's very different. But thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow night, I have VP Green nominee Miss Angela Walker is coming back, and she is a badass. So I'm so excited to have her back. Monday, I have two PA Greens, Mike PA in 64 and J. Ting Walker. They're both in the Pittsburgh area. Next Wednesday, I have Benjamin Dixon will be joining me Wednesday night. So that should be interesting. And I'll be going on Ryan Knight's show coming up, and yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up. So yeah, next show is tomorrow night with Green VP Angela Walker. Yeah. Love her. You guys, if you didn't see her last time, tune in this time either way, because we'll be talking about new stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the bestest. Also, please subscribe to Savage Joy Marie Mann on YouTube. There are over 300 of my prior shows on there. So I'm kind of pulling over all my shows to, no matter where they were, to just kind of go to that one place. Also, my Patreon, you can subscribe for as little as $3 a month, and it helps me so much as far as paying for my streaming. My streaming alone is $80 a month. So it helps. Anything helps because it's not cheap to do a show. But anyway, thank you guys so much, and have an incredible night. I will see you tomorrow.